What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some Bulls news to discuss. There's two pieces of news I'd like to bring to your attention if you haven't seen it already, and it's big news for the Chicago Bulls, ladies and gentlemen. It continues the idea of going younger, and ultimately it also takes the stress away from restricted free agency, at least, and free agency in general. So we're going to discuss these two pieces of news in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the two players we'll be talking about today, and would you, do you agree with the things that has happened to them and the Chicago Bulls as well? Now, without further ado, let's get stuck right into it. The first piece of news I want to talk about is a restricted free agent in Patrick Williams. Well, I should say former restricted free agent, because he's no longer a restricted free agent. The Chicago Bulls have agreed to a deal with Patrick Williams that is 5 years worth $90 million. Patrick Williams has got the bag, ladies and gentlemen, and obviously for the Chicago Bulls, this is a deal that continues their idea of potentially going younger. It keeps around a player that is a good 3-and-D player at least, and it's at a price that is somewhat reasonable at $18 million per season. Now, you might think $90 million and go absolutely berserk. How on earth did Patrick Williams get $90 million in a contract? But it's 5 years. If it was $90 million worth 3 years, $90 million worth 4 years, we can have a discussion there. But it's 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to take him to, how old? I think he's 22 years old. That's going to take him to 27 years old. That's going to take him into his prime years. And I personally, with the new NBA, contract expansion, whatever the case may be, I am somewhat content with this deal. I obviously need to talk about the positives and the negatives of it. The biggest negative I could take away from this type of deal is that he's getting paid a lot more than Kobe White. Now, keep in mind, Kobe White has incentives to his contracts, but ultimately, if we're talking about who is the better player and who probably deserved a little bit more money, I think we got an absolute steal for Kobe White. Whereas for Patrick Williams, I don't think we're going to be walking out of this situation and saying we got a steal in this situation. So that's a big negative to take away from it. But ultimately, that's about it. I think a lot of people expected the Chicago Bulls to come in here and to pay around that $18 million mark. There were a couple of Bulls YouTubers, a couple of Bulls fans on social media talking about the range in which Patrick Williams was going to get paid. And my honest thoughts and my honest opinion was, as long as he's not getting paid over $20 million, I would keep Patrick Williams around. I don't see a reason why we need to get rid of him when, especially with the Josh Giddey trade as well, I don't see a reason why to get rid of him. And we didn't. We didn't get rid of him. In fact, we made sure to get this deal completed well before, free agency began. So it takes the stress off of free agency. And I guess an example in this regard is how we had to handle Larry Markkanen's restricted free agency. Like it or not, for myself, for many Bulls fans, probably for Larry Markkanen and the Bulls as well, there was a lot of stress involved in that restricted free agency. There was a lot of unknowns. There was Larry Markkanen not willing to take the bench role, the Bulls underpaying and stuff of that nature. No teams really coming in for him until the last second and stuff of that nature. It was a very stressful time. So at least what the Bulls did here is they agreed to a contract that's relatively reasonable, a contract I'm content with. I'm not super over the moon about it, but I'm not down in the dumps either. I'm very content with this deal. I think this is an okay deal. It's something that I can respect, and a lot of people are considering this to be a good move for the Chicago Bulls. Again, look at the social media reactions. I know that's not everything, but everybody seems to be rather content or very stoked about the deal. Regardless, we kept a player 5 years, $90 million, and we didn't have to deal with the hassle of restricted free agency. I think that's a win-win for the Chicago Bulls. Now, Patrick Williams still has a lot to prove. I don't think there's any denying that. I want to see Patrick Williams take more levels to his game. I think he can handle a burden of a more responsibility in the offense, I guess you could say. And obviously we know what he's capable of on the defensive end, and that's a big part of why I wanted to keep him around. But we'll just have to wait and see how the cookie crumbles in relation to Patrick Williams. He could very well be the same player for the next 5 years. I guess a negative for some people is they will come flat out and say he's not worth $18 million per season. That's a negative that people can throw around. And I think the big reason why he got paid $18 million is A, the potential aspects, I think many people can agree. Sometimes players are paid based on potential and not necessarily what they produce at this very moment. And B, once again, I mentioned already, because the contracts are increasing for a lot of players, Patrick Williams will obviously benefit from that as well, which is why he's probably getting paid $18 million. Again, something I'm content about, not necessarily something I'm over the moon about. But we got rid of the hassle of restricted free agency. And that is something I'm going to take all day long. And this could potentially lead to signs of DeMar DeRozan leaving. Now, I know there's contract, I guess, increases and stuff of that nature. But we don't have a lot of money left. And this actually goes to the second point of things. We'll get to DeMar DeRozan later. Torrey Craig took a surprising turn of events and actually accepted his player option to rejoin the Chicago Bulls. There was a lot of rumors suggesting they would actually decline that player option and that he was not going to be brought back to the Chicago Bulls. Now, Torrey Craig is a player that I think many people like on this Bulls team. He's had some very good moments with some 16-point halves and was unbelievable from the three-point line in certain games. He's had very disappointing moments like the alley-oop kerfuffle with Andre Drummond that brought memes to the Bulls and sums up the season and everything in between. But ultimately, it's still a surprise that he did accept his player option and that he is being brought back to the Chicago Bulls. I don't know why that's the case. Will he play? I honestly don't know. What I will say is this. I'm personally not upset with the deal because A, it's still a cheap deal. It's not like we're overpaying for Torrey Craig. B, I personally don't think Torrey Craig is going to come out here and change results for the Chicago Bulls. I don't think he's going to help us win 10, 15 more games than what we probably would have already won. Now, he's a valuable bench option. I think, again, he's a high producer in certain games. If you score 16 points and a half, of course, that can help you win a game. It's as simple as that. But in the overall grand scheme of things, in an 82-game season, I don't think he's going to be the biggest difference maker in us winning and us having a winning record or us having a losing record, if you know what I mean. And that's why I'm not terribly upset about keeping Torrey Craig. Maybe the roster spot issue could be a problem, but I don't see that as a problem in all honesty either. He might be taking a couple of opportunities from younger guys away, but we'll have to wait and see how the team actually formulates over time, because there is a lot of people suggesting he could be in trade conversations, which is very possible as well, considering that we still feel that Nikola Vucevic is being rumored to trades. We still feel Zach LaVine is in a situation where he needs to be traded. And again, bringing up with the conversation of DeMar DeRozan. If DeMar DeRozan is wanting $40 million, I can't see an avenue in which he gets that for the Chicago Bulls anymore. I think that's as simple as that as well. I don't think we're going to be a team that goes over the luxury tax, especially with this current team. I don't think there's any chance of that happening. So I don't know where the $40 million is going to come from. I don't think it's coming from the Chicago Bulls. So if there is another team, like the Clippers, for example, or the Lakers, or any other team that can offer him $40 million a season, he could very well be out of the door in relation to the Chicago Bulls. It's the harsh reality of things. Again, I will always support DeMar DeRozan, no matter where he goes, even if he stays here. As much as I'll question the idea of it, I will support DeMar DeRozan. I think he's a very, very, very humble guy that brings a lot of good qualities to any NBA team, and he gets often criticized way too much for the talent that he has. But yeah, that could potentially see DeMar DeRozan leave the Bulls. We don't know. That's the harsh reality, but I just can't see it. We kept Patrick Williams for a decent amount. Torrey Craig is coming back. I don't know how he's going to get that type of money, man. But the Bulls, they surprise me. Maybe they'll surprise me again. But with that being said, that's all I've got to talk about today. DeMar DeRozan could potentially be out the door because of the Patrick Williams re-signing and Torrey Craig accepting his player option. Do you like these deals? Do you not so like these deals? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.